Hey guys, it's Andrew Esquivel here, back with another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Zero Lemon Solar Juice. This is a solar-powered battery bank that holds up to 20,000 milliamp hours of charge. Now, to put that in perspective, the average cell phone battery is around 3,000 milliamp hours. So, you can imagine how many times you could charge your phone with just one full charge of this. Now let's go over a few specifications really quick before I bring you into a scenario where these are super helpful. First off, as I said, 20,000 milliamp hours is the capacity of the battery. The solar panel on here can charge the battery, but only at about a rate of 1.2 watts. So it would take a very long time for you to charge this thing using a solar panel. It's more for emergency situations when you're like out in the middle of who knows where and you've got no other choice but to sit, wait, charge, and use. So don't rely on the solar panel as the end-all be-all solution to charging this thing. In fact, when I first got it, it comes about 50% charged, and it does have the option to charge it with a micro USB connection that your standard phone would use, 2.1 amp, and it takes quite some time. That being said, it is a huge battery. It's also water resistant. Now, keyword resistant, not waterproof, meaning, let's say you're camping and you want to have this charging right outside the camping tent. Well, if it starts to drizzle a little bit, it'll be okay. If it starts to downpour, bring it inside the tent. Definitely do not submerge it in water. Now, Zero Lemon also claims this to be shock resistant. Once again, not shock proof, meaning if you drop it on, let's say, the grass, you should be okay. But if you were to drop this on, let's say, the concrete, you're going to have a bad day. It is plastic after all, and it doesn't have like a rubber TPU case like some of their cell phone external or even internal large batteries come with. But one of the reasons why you want to be careful not to drop this at all, it's heavy. This is got to be 1-2 pounds at least. And we're going to measure that on a postal scale in just a moment to get the exacts. And it does say in grams on the package, but I'm going to put it in terms that are more easy to understand. Now, really quickly, we have a digital postal scale that's very accurate. And we're going to use this to measure the weight of the battery. It's actually 1 pound, 0.8 ounces. Not too bad. So, now that we know how this thing kind of does stuff, let's go over some of the functions really quick. One of these ports only charges at 1 amp, while the other port, USB 2, charges at 2.1 amps. Also, there's a little button on here in case you're in a jam. Hold it for 3 seconds and you got a little flashlight, so that's nice. So let's kind of go over the scenario where I use this quite a bit. Now, although this is the ideal sort of device you would want to have if you're going camping, that's great and all. And I think it would do just fine for camping. However, I'm going to bring to you a different kind of scenario. One that I thought this would be absolutely perfect for, and as in practice, as I have actually done, does work perfectly for. That is the idea of having to sleep or live out of your car for a little bit. Now, I don't live out of my car, but I do go on long road trips at times that forces me to have to kind of stay in my own car because I don't want to pay for a motel. So what do? You can't leave the car running forever to charge your phone. And if you're not in a restaurant that can charge your phone while you're eating, you kind of aren't really left with many options. Unless you have this. You see, this is the absolute perfect device because it requires that either A, it gets a power source from the connection via a USB cable, or why don't you just put it right in the front of the window right there as you're driving? If you're driving towards the sunlight, you'll produce enough sunlight to start trickle charging this battery at that 1.2 watts of the solar panel. And if it's too dark, you can always just plug it in like you would do your cell phone. That being said, one very, very important thing to remind everyone is do not let it just sit in the car, in the window. Let's not forget there is a greenhouse effect that happens in a vehicle. That would be very bad for any type of battery, this one or any other. So, as long as you're keeping an eye on it and you're not letting the car get super hot, it's a perfect idea to just let it sit in front of the dash. Or even on the side windows here. Let me kind of show you what I got going on here and why this is perfect for the situations when you have to sleep in your car. I present to you the scenario. Now, I've had time to prep for the idea of sleeping in the car. I've got the backseat bed, inflatable. It's nice. I've got covers, particularly sleeping blankets, to keep me warm. One thing I didn't have was a way to keep my cell phone charged when I couldn't charge it in any other way. Keeping the car running while you're sleeping at night simply is not going to happen. You're going to waste a lot of gas. That's just not going to work. Going to a restaurant or something to charge your phone takes quite a long time, but it can be done. Inconvenient though. That's where this comes in. Let me kind of show you where everything goes. Now this is why I chose to do a camera in hand point of view, because we are in fact in the car laying down on the air mattress. Okay, so I've got my phone, Galaxy S4, and it's starting to go a little bit close to the dead side. Let's assume it's really late at night. You're parked somewhere. Well, those free parking spots near the Park and Ride or Walmart parking lot doesn't exactly have power outlets for you to use. So what do? Well, here's a solution. I'm going to flip this around here really quick. And I'm going to take our solution. Gonna hook it right where my clothes hangers would go. Right in the window. Voila. Now, in addition to doing other stuff like putting my glasses up here for when I'm sleeping, I can take my sleeping bag, pull it over so I'm nice and warm. But most importantly, in the event of emergency, I can charge my phone. Now, as you can see, we are indeed charging the phone because I have this little cable connected to our little spot. And I could just put my phone in a little cradle where you would have places to put for your passengers. And voila, you now have the perfect scenario. Well, let's talk more about the device here. It has 4 LEDs that shine blue to tell you where the battery is at. Currently, it's actually at 2 LEDs. Each LED represents about 25% of the device's battery life. Now, let me give you a little testimony to just how many times you could use this before you actually even need to worry about charging it again. See, my Galaxy S4 is a bit thicker than most, and that's because I have a somewhat extended battery. Zero Lemon does make a very large 7500 milliamp hour battery for this phone, but I currently have about 5400 milliamp hour battery in this phone. That is slightly bigger than the stock battery that comes with it, and I have taken it upon myself to charge this all the way, this device, and only use this device for several days now. So we're going on about day 3 or 4 without having to use any power from the electrical grid, only this battery bank. And I have charged my phone at least 5 times now, at least 5 times, possibly 6 in the 3 or 4 days that I have been using this only. Now that's pretty darn impressive. Now the windows back here are slightly tinted and probably won't give you the best direct sunlight needed in order to power this device. We have actually just gone down, and I know it shows in the camera a little bit of light, but down to the last 25% of the battery life on this device after several days of just using it. So it stands to reason that if you charge it fully, it'll last you for quite some time, and you'll find other ways to charge it without the solar panel, I'm sure, within that time. But back to the main point that I'm trying to drive at is back here, charging this device via the solar panel isn't going to work very well. So I have another idea that might work a lot better for this kind of scenario. Let me give you a little idea of what I'm thinking about. Now, not everyone will have access to this particular idea and concept that I'm throwing out here, but humor me for just a second. Let's say I place a nice pad in between this and the metal. Protects against the heat of the metal and the sunlight. I got this sitting up here and, well, I have a sunroof. So let's just have the cable go down into the car. And unfortunately, the cable they give you with this device is relatively short, but a simple purchase of a nice longer USB cable will fix that problem. One cable that could probably feed all the way back right to where you would be using your phone. And you're also ventilating your car, so the car won't exactly get hot on the inside either. This would be great for those summer days when you're just kind of relaxing in the car, if you're on a long road trip and you just need to chill out at a way station or something. Now you could probably think of 1,000,001 ways to use this device and a bajillion different scenarios where this device would be absolutely perfect to have. This is just my personal idea. If you're going camping, or if you're urban camping, as I like to call it, sleeping out of your car for a little bit, it is a fantastic device, and I really did do this. I really did stick it out in the car for a while and only use the charger. Now, suffice it to say that Illinois weather is not very nice half the time. In fact, when I did this test, the temperatures in the car routinely got below freezing, but the device held itself quite well. Now, we know that you can't expose it to high heat. The low temperatures don't appear to affect it in any particularly negative way that I can see. I wouldn't suggest throwing it in the snow or something like that. But what I am saying is it is relatively rugged compared to other solar banks that you could get out there. So, my final thoughts on the situation are, it's an awesome product. It really does do everything it advertises it to do. It charges via the solar panel, although I really wouldn't use it unless I had to. You can charge it the other way, so charge it via a regular cable. It's just the idea of charging it via the solar panel to a point where it's actually worthwhile is, well, you're going to have a lot of patience. Over 8 hours a day gives you a little bit about what they estimate to be 50% battery charge of an iPhone. So that gives you some idea of how long it takes to charge it with the solar charger. That being said, charging it the normal way and letting it go and do its thing before you plan on doing anything is the best solution. It does that very well. But in emergency situations, yes, the solar panel can help you get out of a jam. 2, it is rugged. I will give it that. Not so rugged that you can toss it about and just forget about it. Remember, there is a battery in there, and it's a lithium polymer battery, which Zero Lemon claims is a bit more stable than something like lithium ion, and it might be. Still, treat it with some respect, and you should be fine. And 3, the battery life is huge. You can go off the grid for the power for a number of days. So long as you have the device, you will have power for, I would estimate, 3 to 4 days at least. Another thing about this device is, unlike Zero Lemon's cell phone batteries, the warranty is far longer than their cell phone extended batteries, so take that for what it's worth. All in all, I'd have to give the product a good 4.5 out of 5 stars if I were rating it like that. And the reason I don't say 5 stars is because something with a solar panel, I get what they're getting at. It's just the solar panel really isn't that viable of a solution. So for that reason, I'm going to say 4.5. If it's charged at a more reasonable rate, sure, why not? I mean, there's nothing that says you can't just get their 30,000 milliamp hour battery bank that's not solar powered and get a proper portable solar charger that can charge a device at 2.1 amps with direct sunlight and then charge the battery bank that way instead of plugging it into the grid. That might be a far better solution than relying on an all-in-one product like we have right here. So, in the end, oh hell yeah, I would definitely recommend this product. It's an awesome little doodad, and by golly, it really does a lot. And I foresee myself using this product a lot in the future. There's going to be a lot of camping trips this summer. There's going to be a lot of driving around, and I'm sure there's going to be times when I got to travel long distances and have to sleep in the car. But no matter the situation, Zero Lemon has essentially got the idea to the T. So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, show your friends, check out my other videos. I got plenty of them. And as always, thanks for watching.